And the red light is on. We're recording. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Sure. How? Okay. This is the Breckening Podcast. I am here with the third member of Secret of Boris and the most handsome one that I know is not a secret. That's why they shove you behind a drum kit so you're not distracting from the front man. I'm here with Ryan. Is it Schershehuh? Is that?
Yes, it's Schershehuh.
Schershehuh,
but you would never know that the way that it's
spelled
presented on Facebook.
As a fellow member of the Uncommon Last Name Club, I can sympathize in a way. Mine is more length, complicated. Yours is a lot of SCHs.
Yeah, it's got some SCHs on Facebook. It's
Ryan
it's
Andrew.
Not spelled.
Or now it's like Ryan Andrew on Facebook. I guess to
it's
help
Arthur.
Arthur, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's that, like your middle name?
That's my middle name.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Did you finally just give up on the?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, this world is with
full of
Facebook,
full of idiots.
Well, yeah, for sure. But also, like in this day and age, like when you have a really kind of unpopular or unique name, like you're very, very findable online.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If my name were John Smith,
yeah,
like good luck.
Or Cameron Taylor.
Oh, right, yeah,
Which
yeah.
It's funny because I mentioned that, the singer Secret of Boris, but also I have a cousin named Cameron Taylor.
I bet you do.
So, Taylor, one of the big last names out there.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah. So it's just sort of a somewhat of attempt to kind of anonymize myself online.
Okay.
But yeah.
So yeah, I'm just a drummer. So you're a drummer of Secret of Boris, also ManifestiV, the industrial band of Paragraph Taylor, his wife Lilith Taylor.
Yep.
Ryan Bird of Secret of Boris is also in that, right?
No, it's Kevin Porter.
Kevin Porter. There
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
Okay, I was close enough. And
Right. And one of the other strings from SOB.
and what other projects are you involved in that I am unaware of because
Yeah.
I don't do any preparation for this.
Right. I'm also in a band called Wells Machine.
What is that?
Which is it's really cool. Shelton
yeah.
from Paper Street.
Shelton
is in it.
Inlow.
Yep. And our singer is Steve, and guitarist is Dylan, and it's very it's kind of 4 on the floor rock. It's very Queens of the Stone Age or kind of just 90s grunge kind of stuff. Some Alice in Chains influence. It's really cool, actually. I really, really dig it.
I like me some Caius.
Yeah. You'd actually probably
Outskirts
like it.
of the desert rock. Which I love that term. The desert rock.
Me too.
You're like, why? I don't know why that is the perfect name for this kind of.
It is.
It's like, yeah, I am cruising in the desert in a car that I can't afford, and it's a convertible, and these riffs are sweet. But okay, yeah,
and I think you would like it then.
All right,
but it's it's just 4 dudes, and we get together every so often. It's not even all that, serious, I guess. We are serious about
the band where
about
you
what
can
we do,
have
but
some fun because
exactly
the projects you're in now are like, it's kind of serious.
This one's just kind of like, hey, you guys want to get together this week and blow off some steam, and then we always end up writing something really cool, and so yeah, we're about to start recording some new stuff.
Okay,
and we do have some stuff out on Spotify too. That's pretty good, and just check it out.
Are you just a drummer? You
I'm just the drummer. Yep.
Good. And keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Yep.
These guys that play all the instruments, you're like, God damn it, really? Fucking pick one.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then to kind of add on to that, I mean, those are the 3 bands, but Secret of Boris moonlights as a 9 Inch Nails cover band or tribute band. Sorry.
Oh.
Called Mr. Self-Destruct.
That's right.
Yep.
Y'all are 2 different tribute acts
right.
as
So
well,
then
right?
we also do a tribute to Limp Bizkit.
Oh yeah, Significant Others.
Called Significant Others.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So
we have been on the same show. We did the Scott Begg's 50th birthday
that's right.
roast. And
yeah,
which was
that's right. We did Limp Bizkit at that one, right? Yeah,
as
Trees,
as requested by Mr. Beggs himself.
That was, yeah.
And it was. Maybe the bands weren't because there was you guys, and then closing out the night were the Riverboat Gamblers.
Okay.
But everything in between, was a shit show of organization or lack thereof, because I was there. I'm like, all right, I asked the guy that put it together, Pete Friedman, formerly of Central Track, now with WFAA. He like put it together, and I was like more than happy. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I've probably one of the only comics that's done a consistent amount of stand-up at Three Links. I've been there myself, seeing bands, and I'd love to roast them. This is great.
Yeah.
So I channeled Norm Macdonald the best I could, wrote out jokes that are lovingly about Three Links, but also just ripped into fucking punk and anything it can make fun of. Yeah. And I was there and I had my jokes printed out and everything. But everyone else, I was the only one that prepared for this roast, because everyone else, it was just a shit show. I remember standing next to the sound guy, and or sound guy, one of the people there, probably sound guy, and he was like, he looked at me and was like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck's going on here? And I was just like, I don't know, man. I'm one of the guys roasting, but I was like, I had my paper. I'm like, but I got my shit printed out, and I'm just waiting to be told when to go up.
Yep.
It was fun. I did have some fun, but.
Yeah. So was that at Three Links or Trees?
That was at Trees.
That was okay. That was at Trees. Yeah, that's what I'm remembering. We also did. Scott Beggs did the Woodstock kind of throwback, where you had a bunch of tribute bands that were actually played on Woodstock '99, and so we did Limp Bizkit there. And then at the last minute, I don't remember what happened, but it was like some band dropped off or something, and so we got done playing Limp Bizkit, and he said, "Hey, can you guys do 9 Inch Nails?" And
next,
like,
or
yeah,
like at
yeah. Well, it
point?
was like 2 hours later on a different stage. So of course we had already taken our gear off and broken it down and put it the back, and so we pull it all back out, move it to a different stage, and just play like an unplanned 9 Inch Nails set, which we hadn't rehearsed that stuff in a while, so it was a little rough, but it was fun. But I was exhausted.
Oh fuck, I bet.
So, but it was a fun night. That was a crazy one. I think, if I remember correctly, they had a ICP tribute band too.
Yes.
And they brought Fago and shot it all over the place, and like,
as they should.
Well, I mean, if you want to be real, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, then of course after the show, someone had to mop all that up.
Yeah, and I don't feel I'm not envious of whoever the fuck's responsibility that was.
Yeah.
Fago apparently doesn't like that ICP has used their now publicly. They're like, we're not acknowledging them, but also I think because the reason that we even know what Fago is because of ICP, and they owe God knows how much of their revenue to ICP. My belief is that they secretly ship them like truckloads.
Probably.
Like, give us an address, give us a neutral address, like a warehouse. We'll just drop it off there, and then you can pick it up and whatever, and spray that shit everywhere. But we will never publicly acknowledge that we approve of this or know of your existence. Because how could a product, a brand, be that ignorant or even that like a little off? Like, no, that's the reason people buy. That's the reason I've seen Fago at in more and more locations over the years.
They're growing in popularity.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I've ever even had Fago.
No,
I don't know if it's any good, but
I try to stay away from sodas because I got enough vices. So all the fun flavors of Fago out there, I'm probably good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't hang out with any juggalos. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find some to hang out with.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. That was that. I know that started with ICP, but we opened with SOB. We opened for Head PE. You remember Head PE, which is a rock band.
I had those first two albums.
Right.
The one with the weird. It's like The World, but a lot of weird cartoony shit's going on.
Right,
and the second one that's like red and has Hey Bartender or whatever on it.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Well, so we actually played with them twice at Trees, and we were really surprised, but they kind of started attracting a kind of a juggalo audience.
They
which
are
is interesting.
I have this thing. I don't know how to really flesh it out. It wouldn't work as a comedy bit. It wouldn't even work as a sketch. Maybe if it would be a fun graphic, a la like something on Cracked.com. It's called the Juggalo metric. It's bands that are, or the percentage, if someone listens to a certain band or musician, that the percentage they also listen to ICP.
Okay.
Now, very low, but also like Sublime. I think plenty of juggalos listen to Sublime.
Okay.
But very few people that love and listen to Sublime probably listen to ICP. Now, the more you climb up on that, and before you get to people that are on Psychopathic Records, Twisted, Axe Murder Boys, all these, people that share the stage with them. There are these groups that, and even some metal bands.
Oh yeah.
High up on there, and you'd have to throw out just arbitrary numbers, really. But Head PE, I want to say maybe like 40%.
Yeah.
If you listen to Head PE, there's a 40% chance you probably listen to ICP.
Yeah.
Even more so, let's say in the 60 to 70% range is a band that I fucking hate, Mushroom Head.
Yeah, you're right.
But they're like, below them's easy, Head PE.
Yeah.
And plenty of like new metal bands that,
Right. Well, it kind of caught us off guard.
You weren't expecting to see
we
face
weren't,
painted.
We weren't, yeah. We kind of walked in and we're like, oh, whoa, all right.
Yeah.
But actually, we went over really well with that crowd.
No, they're cool. They're a cool group.
They're very loyal too.
Oh,
like
absolutely,
straight up, they are.
Juggalos are more punk rock than vast majority of punk rockers.
Yeah,
and just
sure.
their beliefs and how they live their life.
Yeah,
and this is complimentary and insulting, but at the same time,
right. Got to do both, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and we played with them twice, and both times the shows went really, really well, and then we've maintained a lot of fans that we gained with that, and of course a lot of people who saw us the first time saw us again the second time because of that loyalty. They were back for the second round. But yeah, it was kind of just a strange thing that we didn't really expect, but yeah, I guess maybe we have some of that Juggalo crossover now too.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are just like new metal, or what's weird about this term? I wish it was around more, but groove metal.
Groove metal, yeah.
Because that's what they say a lot about Pantera. Is that I'm like, well, yeah, there's some groove in that, but definitely plenty of like new metal bands have that groove,
right? Yeah.
Which groove, like in the way I equate it to like catchiness almost. Just kind of,
yeah.
And there's even like metalcore bands these days that kind of have like a groove kind of thing to them.
Not as much as I wish.
Yeah,
and that's, I mean, I'm with you though. That certain kind of that groove that new metal really had, and that was,
and hardcore has even had like in the past.
Sure, yeah. Well, a lot at least the groove that I'm kind of referencing from new metal comes from that rap influence, where it's
the flow,
the flow, and what's what I like to call like the throw, like that when you feel that backbeat, and it's got a certain, just I don't know, just a certain move to it.
It makes you move,
right? And
instead of
it's not it's very you kind of fall into the floor with it. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a drummer, so I'm probably speaking in terms that no one gets, but
you're trying to translate music into words.
Well, it's hard, but I've always loved that about new metal, was where it took that kind of that groove that just, you want to slam your head into the wall and also fall onto the floor at the same time, just in this pocket, and kind of took it from rap and infused it into rock, which is why I loved Korn and Biscuit. Like, God, they really took that and it, made a really cool sound out of kind of blending those two elements. Of course, that became really uncool after that.
Yeah,
but you remember, God, at one point Korn was on top of the world.
Oh yeah,
like 98, 99.
Right on their heels was Limp Bizkit.
They were on TRL.
Like, and then Linkin Park coming around, and then they got even bigger than those guys.
Right.
And stay. They had this. Linkin Park had this momentum, and then like a lot of like bands that play like plenty of like metalcore, new metal-y kind of stuff now. Their biggest influences are Limp Bizkit. Oh no, I'm sorry, Linkin Park, and Slipknot.
Exactly.
And I'm like, these guys didn't even listen to like Unearth and Kill Switch or
right.
Lamb of God, maybe but
yeah. Well, and so I think Limp Bizkit, Korn, that whole new metal era, they did something so cool, and then it really became quickly uncool, and it stayed uncool, and all of a sudden it's kind of making a comeback. And I'm excited about that, because that groove that I love about that, it's starting to creep back in. It's
It
not
is.
there yet.
There's
but it's coming back.
The merging of like my past and then the recent past of like again I started with my best friend was into 311. That was an easy segue into new metal.
Sure.
And then 311 weathered that new metal storm because I always got lumped in, but they're like we've always been doing our own thing. And then I got into punk and hardcore and like metalcore and spacey metal and rock. And I found out I was like, oh, I just want to hear sweet riffs. And then but in these days, there's this like pocket of bands that you have like Code Orange, Jesus Peace, Vane.fm, they have to call themselves now, and like even like Knocked Loose, one of the big metalcore bands, but even they kind of have like this groove part to them at points, but they're still throwing in all the breakdowns and everything. They're not that experimental like Code Orange. But Code Orange probably the biggest example of it's like, no, we wear our fucking new metal influences on our sleeves,
right?
But we're also going to have some of the gnarliest fucking breakdowns you've ever heard.
Code Orange is the shit, man. I
saw them once.
Oh, really?
I saw them in Fort Worth. Loathed out of UK. They were hard to like. I found them on Spotify, but like they have like this EP of just instrumental, weird, spacey stuff. That's very atmospheric, and I was just like, oh, is this where Spotify combined two artists into the same page? Because that happens all the time.
Right.
But I realized, oh, no, it is the same. But then I finally heard like an actual metal track from them. I was like, oh, okay, I get why they're on this show.
Yeah.
And then Corey Taylor's son's band, Vended, was on there. And then Dying Wish opened up, who's just this great metalcore band that I found out about. And then I got there on time. I'm still a little peeved. I got there on time. But as I'm waiting to get in, I hear the band's playing. And that's like a fucking fever dream to us, music venue goers, where you're like, oh, the band I want to see is playing right now, and I'm stuck in line to get in. And it's happened to me where it's not a fault of my own, where I'm just like, I'm here on time. You told me when this started.
Yep.
Like, it said doors at this time, but the band started this time. Just like, maybe communicate. Anyways.
They're not the best at that.
So I missed part of Dying Wish, but I got to talk about
yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Code Orange, I've seen them a couple times now. I saw them at Dada.
Oh, okay, that was probably right when like maybe their second or third album was coming out.
Yeah, and that was a wild show. I mean, a little tiny place.
Oh yeah,
and that place was just on fire. And then saw them a couple years ago at Jexa. Oh, I'm trying to remember what show it was on. I think it was a big show. They opened. I think it was at Slipknot. I think it might have been Knotfest. Yeah. God, they were badass. They were so good. And
for a while, their singer was their drummer.
Right,
so
I know.
He can only do so much. Like one, vocals while drumming. I'm just like, Jesus, how do you do that?
Understand
and then it was crazy how long they went. Where it's just like, oh, your primary vocalist is the drummer. And they eventually found another drummer, so this guy could get out and really, I think, expand the band's sound and stage presence. Because I'm like, that required a new hardcore, metalcore, new metal band where you have no front man. Bold.
Yeah.
And they earn their fan base. And,
well, and that's where they were. And I saw them at Dada because I was, watching the show. It was just bonkers. And it's like, who in the hell is singing? I can't find it.
Is he like a weird early Maynard guy and just hiding in the shadows?
Yeah, right.
No, I can scream, but no one look at me.
Yeah. Well, and then God, we saw him at Jexa, and holy crap, their stage show is just unreal. Like every one of those guys, just and girl, just absolutely.
And they're playing in leather? Like, Jesus Christ.
They gotta be so damn
sleeveless
hot
leather, but I'm like, well, I guess that helps balance it out, but damn.
But yeah, if you haven't seen that show, holy crap, check out Code Orange. They are awesome.
Formerly the Code Orange Kids.
Oh, is that true?
Their first couple albums, they're called the Code Orange Kids. And then they just dropped it to Code Orange, which is probably like, that's probably for the best.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, hearing that, like the new metal groove.
Yeah,
and
they definitely.
I equate it to energy. It's just it's a fun energy, and I'm just as guilty as plenty of people that disavowed my new metal. I didn't disavow that I ever listened to it. I just disavowed that I'm like, I don't give a shit. I hate it now. Whatever. And because honestly, I really didn't listen to much of it. But then with age and maturity, you're kind of like, all right. No, it is fun. It's fun.
It
and
is.
Then you owned it. But that's one thing I
Right.
respect about all of you guys. And maybe it's the musicians. You're a lot more honest and about your the things you like and what you're into. But with me as just someone, a show goer and a band shirt haver, and someone who has been guilty of leaning into falling under the pressure of gatekeepers, where you're just like, oh, I don't feel safe admitting who I am inside about this band I like. But thank God all that shit is gets destroyed with age.
Right.
And I can be like, no, man, no, fucking Limp. I still will say I'm not the biggest fan of Korn. I did have 4 Korn albums growing up.
Okay.
But Limp Bizkit, I can be like, this shit fucking, as the kids say, slaps.
Yeah, it
It's
slaps.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Dude, and I'll tell you what, they put a record out, was it last year, I think,
It
2022?
still sucks.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
That riff on that opening sound, that opening track.
It's so awesome.
Or whatever the fuck Wes is doing. Oh,
dude,
shit.
he's just a master. He's one of my favorite riff writers of all time. Wes Borland is awesome. And, and kind of going with that, they've been playing these enormous shows in Europe. And, I follow them all on Instagram and God, they're playing stadiums and stuff in Europe, and
like it's
people
fucking 20,
love it.
25 years ago.
Yeah. You know what? But they'll play here.
Yeah.
And they're smaller venues, but man, they get going and people erupt.
Yeah.
Like people will talk shit on Limp Bizkit all day long, but once they get started, once they are at the show and they start, it's like, oh damn, that's right. This is really cool.
I get why you guys were this big. It wasn't.
They are
just...
great. Great show. I mean, just everything about it is great. And so we, it's kind of funny, but as an extension, just as we're a Limp Bizkit tribute band, we kind of deal with some of that too. We'll get to a venue and people are like, you're the Limp Bizkit tribute band. Oh, okay. But shit, we start playing and
it's like bitch.
People enjoy it. We always have a good time.
It's easy to say and to think and whatnot, but once you see it in action, I bet they kind of eat their words. They're like, oh, okay, people are really enjoying this, and oh shit, look at my legs, I am too.
Yeah,
okay.
damn it, yeah. Well, we played a show. It's been a few years now, but up at the Poor Shack, I think. I think it was Poor Shack in Keller.
Okay,
and with the Limp Bizkit band. And we were the opening band. There was just 2 bands on this bill. We were the opener, and the headliner of the night was a Metallica tribute band.
Okay.
So we're just like, oh, this is not going to go well. Yeah, like, so hardcore Metallica fans are not Limp Bizkit fans. So we're like, well, let's just see what happens. And this place had a huge built-in crowd and then a lot of Metallica shirts. But as the night went on, we started seeing some Bizkit shirts.
Okay.
Walking in, and we're like, okay, this could be good. And so we went on and we played the show, and it was fantastic. And like everyone was into it. Even all the guys with the Metallica shirts were like way into it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I get it. And I'm sure they deal with the same shit. They're like the kind of the laughing stock sometimes. Oh, stupid music, but they start playing, and people instantly change their tune. At least while they're playing, and man,
music's easy to talk shit about, but then when you're actually there, where it's in its own element, then it's kind of like, oh, that's when reality sets in. Of just like, well, either you're enjoying it or not, and if you're not, look at all these people that are.
Right.
You feel left out because you're probably an asshole.
Yeah, right.
I went to this show. I met like a gatekeeper type dude who, oddly enough, and I respect that anyone can say this. Who, I was out of it. I'm 38. I don't give a fuck anymore. Where I was talking to this one guy. He's been in like some hardcore like fucking thrashy metal bands, and then another guy who's always played in like anything from country to grindcore and kind of that. But also guys that are just they're the only 2 guys I knew there. And I was like, and I haven't seen them in a long time, so I was like, okay, cool. I'm wearing the appropriate band shirt for the thing. And one of the guys was kind of like defending gatekeeping. Like, first of all, it started out with, I was like, I love 311. They're amazing. My best friend has 311 Tattoo. I've seen them more than I would have naturally seen. I really like their shit. And they're also just like, oh, God. Like, I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you never grew out of that. But I did. And so, but we're also here watching these, like, we're watching some grindcore bands, and this happened just a couple weeks ago. I'm like, we're here watching grindcore bands. I'm wearing like a punk rock band T-shirt. Like, I'm here liking this, but you still don't like that I like things. I'm not making you listen to it.
Yeah, right.
But you just don't like it. I find that hilarious. And it was like real life trolling. Yeah. But it was even better because it's not a bullshit anonymous message board shit. It was like, oh, I can see this guy physically recoil because I love something that I'm not making him listen to. He just, I think I was like, 311, and I think someone you mentioned, like, and then a few sentences later you mentioned Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm like, oh, dude, they got some great fucking songs. I love Darius Rucker's voice. His country shit, I could do without Wagon Wheel just because you hear it all the time.
Yeah,
but I was like, they're like, God forbid. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I do like these things.
Yeah.
But I'm here at this grindcore show, though.
Right.
But that's not good enough for you.
Yeah, that's just some high school bullshit.
Oh, it is. But these
come
are people
on, guys,
that are,
get over it.
These are people like probably my age, if not like in their 40s. And I was just like, wow, you really think this way?
You're right.
Oh, maybe that's why. I don't know.
Well, honestly, if
also, I don't think they're kind of the guys that laugh at anything. So
well, right,
like,
yeah,
like,
that's
fuck, these are the only people I know.
The case there, yeah.
And that's one thing it makes me even appreciate you guys more. I'm like, oh, new metal people. They're fun to hang out with.
Right.
You get these fucking stick up your ass, like, scene type guys. And it's just like, hey, guys, like, there was a decent amount of people at this show.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's got its limits,
Sure.
Grindcore and shit like that. Okay. Yeah. There's some really fun fucking dudes. My buddy Todd Thompson, he's in like 4 or 5, crusty thrash, black metal-y kind of bands. He's a great dude. But that's like 1 out of every 10 people. The rest of them are gatekeeping, stick up their ass shitheads.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
You guys, I can hang out with any of you guys, and I was like, okay, no, these are my friends. These guys, I see them at shows.
Yeah,
these are my friends. These guys are fun.
Yeah,
and the music reflects that.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, especially people that don't really like. They only listen to one kind of music, and it's got to be like one genre? Very specific, like metal genre. Like, God. Like, you don't really like music. You like this one thing.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I don't know,
You like all the bands that sound like that first band that really, I'm not doubting you love this.
Right.
But you just want to hear 50 other bands that sound like that.
Just like that,
all sound like, Mayhem or something.
Right, yeah.
Burzum.
Yeah.
You want to hear 50 incantations of Burzum.
Oh, God.
God forbid they record it and it sounds good. Like, no, this is overproduced. Fuck you.
Yeah, it needs to sound like
money
shit.
on that shit. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like even my favorite styles of music, I want to change it up sometimes. Like I'll listen to some electronic stuff or some ambient stuff or some some pop even, and then back to some heavy stuff. But God, like I would just get bored of music if it was the same style. Every day of your whole life.
It's like people shit on the band Ghost, and I don't really like their like first few albums just because it's a little slow to me and a little like, all right, but their latest album and maybe the album before that, I fucking love because it's very poppy, but also it's arena metal. I think Paragraph called it like Bon Jovi, and a part of me is just like, I guess it is, but like metal Bon Jovi, but also really fun, and I get their whole thing, and that. But even in the realm of Ghost fans, there's the old people like, no, sound more like what's like one of their main influence. Anyways, I'm forgetting what the early Ghost kind of sounds like. I'm blanking on that.
Oh, well, okay. And
Blue Oyster Cult. It's like, no, sound more like Blue
sure.
Oyster Cult.
Yep.
I'm just kind of like, or have some really cool choruses that I can pretend like I'm singing it.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's a good problem to have.
And like this piano is actually kind of awesome.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a good problem to have if you've got that many fans, first of all, but also you have evolved that much.
Yeah.
I can't really speak on Ghost very intelligently. I don't know a whole lot of that.
Oh, same. At first heard him, I was like, this is boring. I don't like it. And then I'm like, this is still boring. And then it took like 2 music videos of like stuff from their last album and the album before that. I was like, oh, this shit's really cool. Then I realized, oh no, I like this part of them.
Yeah.
And the other part, it's all right.
Yeah. Well, sure. And that it could be that way with a lot of bands, and especially as they evolve and grow, like they're going to get better. They're going to go different. And the people that love the first stuff may not love the stuff later on. And that's okay. Like, but that shows that you're actually, you're maturing and growing as a musician. And,
hopefully.
I can respect that. But there are a lot of people that can't, and they don't get it. They don't understand it. And I guess I can understand that too. If you aren't a musician or you don't have a creative endeavor of your own where you understand how growth happens. Like I don't make the same kind of stuff I made when I was 16, and that's good because the stuff I made when I was 16 was not good. But like, with any sort of art form, like you gotta grow. Like you gotta get better. And shit, if people don't like it, well, they can. Your old stuff is recorded. They can go listen to that, and they can just stay there. But yeah, I mean, I can respect Ghost a lot. With a lot of the imagery that they've got. All that is really, really genius. And they're
not
obviously
just wearing
huge.
Button-up shirts with ties on stage.
Yeah. Oh man, that's old. That's old.
Y'all need to up your wardrobe budget.
Well, yeah.
Y'all not really do that these much?
No, that was more of a lame thing.
Oh, okay.
It
was
the band name before Secret of Boris. But we don't really do a whole lot of that.
Maybe a drumstick gets caught in your tie, and you're just kind of like, guys, I'm glad I'm wearing a clip-on. You just throw that shit off to the side, like, God damn it, these fucking ties. I'm a drummer. I need space. My arm's got to move, man.
Yeah, I don't love wearing ties on stage, but no, I've done it. But yeah, no, I think Ghost is that kind of a good example of one of the big rock bands of today that's keeping rock music alive, at least for the time being. Goddamn, it's
I give so much
sad.
credit to Mastodon, who
Mastodon too.
I hope in 50 years, I don't want to completely shit on Metallica. I honestly, that new album, I got halfway through the first song.
I saw your Facebook post about that
because I was so blown away. I was just like, I was driving, I was being safe or whatever. I was on the highway, and I was just like, this song's taking forever. Tell me it's almost over. And I looked down. I was like, this is halfway. Fuck this. I ain't got the patience for this right now. And I've listened to plenty of things. So many bands, like all these, I love a lot of post-metal bands, and they fucking routinely have 10, 13-minute long songs. But it goes somewhere. There's a build-up, and then heavy, and then this, very gentle interlude to something, the heavy build-up. This was just uncreative rehashing Metallica. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well,
I respect them.
Well,
respect what they did, but musically, I hope Mastodon is remembered as better music creators, because
I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I think musically, pound for pound, with album and trajectory and evolution, Mastodon's just constantly destroying it with my brain and ears personally.
Well, sure, Mastodon's awesome. I do love me some Mastodon.
Love, and there's Mastodon fans out there that are just like, I wish they play old sludgy shit. I'm just like, do you not listen to, there's parts of that in things that they make now, but they're also, these four awesome dudes. Also, they've mostly, they've stuck together. There's something about bands that either have the same core or have the same, they eventually find the same core. I'm not saying you have to have the perfect lineup from the get-go. That's insane.
Sure, yeah.
But 311.
Oh, yeah.
They brought in S.A. Martinez, and that was it. Mastodon, they got Brand from Today Is the Day, and those guys wrote other things too, but they're like, oh, we found our drummer. This guy does the rolls and the fills and he was self-taught, and it's just holy, this is the drums that we need for this thing.
Yeah.
And I love when, Sick of It All, one of my, one of the first hardcore shows I ever saw, Sick of It All, they replaced their bassist in the early mid-90s. And to this day, they're still fucking touring, having fun. And I just like it when bands just have this, when they can, things happen, I get that. But when they have this core, there's something about, I realize a lot of the bands I like, and especially they have some longevity to them, they always have this core to them. And I think that's just the best. Converge, one of my favorite bands, when Jane Doe came out and they finally were a four-piece, and they also found their drummer. And then that was the drummer they needed, this fucking insane drummer. I'm blanking on his name, and ever since then, for the last 20 years, they've been this four-piece playing this chaotic fucking hardcore metal that I fucking love and think is very creative.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I want to go back to the Metallica thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll be honest. I have not listened to the new record. I respect Metallica a lot. They've obviously. I mean, there's not another, and I don't think there ever will be another Metallica.
No, they can't.
I mean, it's
No band
they're
get
just
that big.
they own everything. But I've heard really good things about that record, and I've heard a couple not so great things about it. But I'm interested to hear you say that. Like,
I'm going to eventually listen. Well, I need to listen. I'm going to listen to all the new record. I need to go back and listen to like the other albums of this century, because I've Death Magnetic, Hardwired. Hardwired. ... To self-destruct. I'm just like, okay, can you just call it Hardwired, or what's with the ellipsis? Just that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
I think those are like the three minus, and then like Saint Anger before that.
Yeah,
Nobody likes that.
Yeah.
Well, it was like in this part. Also, anyone listening and care, where I'm here again at our unofficial sponsor. We're here at Pro Rehearsal Studios, and it was here where I first heard Stanger. That's what people call it, Stanger. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I like that. That is the I like inventing a new word to express how much people hated that snare. It was all in the snare too.
It's all the snare. Yeah.
A guy like re-recorded that. I think someone on YouTube re-recorded that album with like an appropriate snare sound, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I see what they're going for.
Yeah, poor Bob Rock. That's unfortunately that may be one of his legacies is that snare drum.
Oh.
And I mean, obviously he's done a lot of
Yeah.
really good work, but I saw something. This has been several years now, but where I think he was interviewed about it and asked about it, and he's like, "It's what Lars wanted." Like Lars was behind that, and so he's kind of putting it on Lars, and of course Lars is not going to own up to that because everyone hates it. But
and Lars, everyone hates Lars.
Well, don't get me started on Lars Ulrich and his drumming. But whatever. Well, I'll stay away from that on this particular episode.
I don't think he's going to hear it. That's fine.
Oh, he might.
Hell, if he does, then hell yeah, then I can have him on and rebut.
Yeah,
everything.
right. Yeah, I'm sure he's interested in making sure that the world knows his side of my opinion.
I will fly to San Francisco if he agrees to be on this podcast. Also, if I could stay in one of his many guest rooms, that would help me with the balancing out the price of the plane ticket.
Yeah,
and
well, so what you were saying about the Metallica record kind of reminded me of the last Tool record. I don't know. Are you a fan of Tool?
I love Tool. Yeah.
And
I can also accept any jokes about Tool.
Well, I can too. I love Tool. Tool is probably my favorite rock band. And I've loved Tool since I was in high school. It's just I don't know. I just have this very special place in my heart for Tool. But I do not like the last record.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I listened to it, or I tried. I got halfway through it, and I kind of like halfway through that, for you, the first song, but for me, halfway through the album, I was like, I am bored to tears. And I don't really like any of this.
I was just thankful there was more Tool. So I didn't have expectations of just like, this has to be a new Lateralis or something like that.
Well, sure, I guess, but
all that time you do expect some fucking
I feel like if there's going to be more of it, it better be as good as the rest. And if it's not, then don't put it out. Like, please don't put this out. And I mean, to be fair, I stopped halfway through the record and I have not picked it back up. So I can't really speak about it. I haven't.
Start number 7.
With the 7, yeah, I know.
That's odd, but
yeah. So I believe me, I've got friends that tell me, "Oh, you just got to listen to it some more. It'll grow on you." And I'm like, well, none of the other Tool stuff had to grow on me. It was good. Like, there were hooks.
Instantaneous.
It's like I think back to some of my favorite Tool songs, and like, while they're not pop songs, they have hooky choruses and hooky parts that you can remember. But I listened back to that first half of that record, and I was like, I heard a lot of guitar and a lot of drums and a lot of bass, a lot of vocals. I can't remember any of it. And it's not drawing me back, and also I'm bored and I don't even want to listen to the rest of it. And I hate to say that about likely my favorite band, but I really wish they hadn't put that out. But I mean, whatever, maybe one day I'll go back and I'll love it. And so just kind of saving a little.
Maybe when you
potential
finally
nugget.
mature.
Yeah, when I finally grow up, yeah. But
I went and gave blood, platelets, which takes fucking forever. It can take up to 2 hours because they take out the blood, take what they need, and put the blood back in you. It's weird.
They put it back in?
Yeah, because they just take the platelets and they put the blood back in. And then like your gums feel a little like fuzzy because you're losing calcium. Anyways,
okay.
They really need platelets.
Why do you have to put it back in? Like, why
That's just how they do it.
It's already out. Just like leave it out. I'll make more.
Because they would need to take out a lot of blood because they got to put it back in.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Otherwise, you're fainting, I guess. So, anyways, I knew I had to kill a certain amount of time, so I brought fully charged phone, AirPods, and when I got bored of like a podcast I was listening to. Not this one, of course. I was like, listen to some music. And I was like, I got time to kill, so let me put on something that takes a long time. And then I put on Tool, is it Rosetta Stone? The guy getting abducted. And just like, doctor, this all the little background stuff, too. Like, it sounds like you're in a fucking hospital. And then, but that song, as weird and crazy as it is, does have like some hooks. Like,
it's that whole record is great that way.
I forgot again. Like,
yeah.
I forgot my pen. I got shit the bed again. You're like, oh, these are good lines.
These are good lines,
and they rhyme,
and they rhyme, and they like, and you can remember them. Like they're memorable, and that's the thing I was missing.
I was even looking at the lyrics,
one.
just like things I probably didn't know, which is plenty of it. But I was like, listen, I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, fuck, these are good. Well, especially because he gets really fast, and a lot of that song. So I wanted to read. I wanted to read along, and just kind of like, oh yeah, these words are fucking hilarious. This is some Maynard ass shit right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great record. And that was.
And even the shit about like Wings for Mary. Like,
God,
the shit about his mom. I was just like, am I crying? I don't know.
That's a great. That's a great
son of a bitch. Yeah.
I think that was ill placed on the record. I don't know why it's in the middle. It should have been at the end. But I mean, that's a whole other thing. But I mean, that record is just fantastic. And I mean, Right in Two and The Pot and Jam by. I mean, just. All that stuff is amazing. That was such a great record. And then it was 15 years or something that they took to put the next one out, and then it just kind of wasn't that good. So I don't know. I was disappointed. I still love Tool. I will still see them every time they come.
I've still never seen them.
Oh man, you got to go.
Well, I had a golden opportunity one time. My buddy Philip. He used to work at an Olive Garden with some friends, and their GM was just like this cool lady. She knew people, whatnot. And then, he was working at a different, like independent place and like independent bar restaurant in Irving. And so he called me one time, and I was waiting tables at a seafood restaurant in Arlington. So he called me up. He's like, "Hey, Caitlin and Vincent, our friends who all used to work at that Olive Garden, with and they knew that GM. They're like, hey." They got tickets thanks to that GM, and she was going too, to see Tool. My friends Caitlin and Vincent like hit me up. They're like, "Hey, we just hit up Philip because they used to be roommates, so they hit up him first." And he was going into work, and he was like, "It was a Friday night," and they were like, "Philip can't go. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Fuck, I just got to work. Give me like 10 minutes before
you gotta find a way to get out."
I go to the schedule. I make some calls. Some people like who aren't there. I'm like, I will pay you you will come and make money, and you'll make more money because I'll pay you. I have an opportunity of a lifetime right now.
Yeah.
These were pit tickets, by the way.
Okay.
I'm like, fuck, I've never seen them before. Pit. Oh my god. And then I was like, fuck. So people that weren't working that night, I called them. Some people didn't answer. Some people were like, I can't. I was like, all right. It came down to one guy who was working lunch. And I asked him, this guy named Rudy, I was just like, can you please work a double? Rudy was in shape, dude. So the physical part of waiting tables for 4, 5, 6 more hours, that's nothing to him. Yeah. But he was like, oh, I got a date with my girlfriend tonight. There's a part of me I just want to be like, motherfucker, you cheat on her all the goddamn time. Like, don't make me say that. But right. I didn't. And I was just like, I was gonna be like, dude, this isn't gonna matter in the long run. This tool show I could see, this will matter in the long run to me.
Right.
I was like, I will give you money and whatever. So he didn't do it. So I was like, I relented. I was like, fuck. Texted or called him back. I'm like, I can't do it. So then it pinged back to my buddy Philip. Well, he didn't work for a chain restaurant, you know, and he was really good at waiting tables. And so he was just like, well, fuck, Brian can't go. He's like, all right, fuck it. I'm going. So he just walks out, clocks out, walks out and meets up with them. They start drinking. They smoke some weed. They go have a fantastic fucking time. And it was just like, I couldn't do that because, I'd probably, I was working for like a chain restaurant. It wasn't Red Lobster. Anything like that. It wasn't that nice. But I was like, oh, fuck, I need to keep this job, whatever. Yeah. And then my buddy Philip, fucking George Costanza's it. So that was a Friday. Goes out. He's probably still hungover. Has a great time. Saw Tool right there in front of his face. Saturday, he walks in. Like nothing happened.
Yep.
And he walks in, and they're like, hey, you can come to the office. He's like, all right. Sits down. He gets suspended for 3 days. Because they can't afford to lose him.
Worth it.
Yeah. So he got to go see Tool. And then he gets 3 days off.
Right.
I was like, you motherfucker. And that definitely wouldn't have happened to me.
Yeah.
And then, goes right back to work, after 3 days. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So there's a part of me that's just like, I think it's just meant that I won't ever see them.
Yeah, well, you should.
Oh,
it's awesome. It's a great show. It's one of the shows, like one of the only remaining kind of bands.
I'd want to have really good seats though.
Well, sure, but you don't even need to. Like, if you know the songs, and if you are,
I would really want to.
Well, of course, you always want to, but even if you didn't, it's still good. And it's one of those bands for me where I can still go in, watch the show, and I can turn off my analytical side. When you're you're a musician and you're at a band show, like you're enjoying it, but you're always like watching, like, what are they doing? Oh, did they just mess this up? Oh, what's going on? With Tool, I can still turn that off and be like totally just a fan and not overanalyze everything, and I can still get like fully into it. And I just love that about Tool.
Have you ever met these dipshit Tool fans that like when Tool's coming through town, you can kind of know.
Yeah.
And then especially like the next day, there's also these people like I saw this a lot with Pat Green. I'd always see Pat Green was in town.
Okay.
The next day, like at high school or community college, I see a fuck ton of Pat Green shirts because the next day they would wear that shirt that they bought. So if someone had like the Tool shirt, or if I knew they were going to Tool, or I'm sorry, after they'd seen Tool, so maybe they were wearing that tour shirt.
Yeah.
And obviously you could check like the day it was in the back of their shirt and be like, oh, would you go see Tool last night? They're like, yeah. So Tool always pretty much brings out amazing openers. An opener.
Not always.
Well, bands I already love.
Okay.
Meshuggah.
ISIS. Yeah. Okay.
I believe Mastodon as well. Bands like that, Primus, that's kind of like a given. They go way back. But like, so three, like all of my favorite bands, Meshuggah, ISIS, Mastodon, have all opened for Tool. And I'm pretty sure Mastodon is one of them. Sounds right?
I think you're right. I know you're right about.
It sounds like it should be.
Meshuggah and ISIS. Yeah.
Meshuggah and ISIS, I know 100%.
Yeah.
But generally, you are correct. Generally, Tool, and if I know who the opener is, and there's part of me is just like, fuck, like ISIS and Tool would be great, Meshuggah and Tool.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, you went and saw Tool? Oh, did you check out Meshuggah? And they're like, oh, no, man, we just got there when Tool went on. And part of me is just like, you did not deserve that ticket. Like, one, don't you think, now, again, you've probably seen Tool where the opener was just like, or something just too weird, maybe.
I have, yeah, unfortunately. But
maybe it's in the cost of the ticket. You think for maybe generally, Tool is going to have someone open for them that their fans will also like.
Yeah.
But I've met so many Tool fans that they don't ever go and even check out. They never like that band open. Maybe you would like them. Yeah. Maybe. Especially like ISIS. Like those, Meshuggah, I could see how a Tool fan might not like them. Right. I get that. A little on the heavy side. A little. ISIS, though, totally, should be up like a Tool fan's
absolutely.
alley,
Yeah.
especially live.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I saw ISIS open for Tool. We went down to the Cynthia Ira Woods Pavilion. I think that's what it's called in Houston, and it's basically their Jexa down there. And we saw Tool, and ISIS opened, and it was just like this perfect spring night, like perfect weather, and like we had seats, but we went out to the lawn and just sat out on the lawn and listened to ISIS and just sat there and just chilled, and it was perfect. Like I was like, this is absolutely the best opener you could have brought.
Yeah,
like just amazing. But
and I think Adam Jones is like played in like maybe I think at least 2 ISIS songs.
Oh, has he? Okay,
yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
I think at least 2, definitely 1.
Yeah. Well, the first time I saw Tool was in 2001 or 2, I think, in Fort Worth, and Tomahawk opened, which is Mike Patton.
A Mike Patton joint.
It's one Mike Patton, and oh my God, it was really bad. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and
he's a very much acquired taste.
Well, he is, and I mean,
even Faith No More, I respect him. But
absolutely.
I'm just
Faith No More and Mike Patton specifically is really, really creative, really does some awesome things, and then also does some not awesome things. And and I guess that's expected from someone that is that outside of the box, if you will. But Tomahawk was really bad, and I mean I was 14 or 15 at the time, but it was almost as if he was going out of his way to just assault the audience with just harsh sound. And all I remember from that was there was a couple minute long streak of just really high pitched sound that was just
unnecessary,
piercing.
I'm like sometimes not out loud, but I'm like, okay, this is unnecessary.
This is unnecessary, and it's almost like he's just saying "fuck you" to everyone here.
Yeah.
And for 2 minutes, just gonna like assault you with these horrible frequencies, and it was bad, and everyone was not happy. Like no one was into it. It was a very strange thing. And of course, I didn't know who Mike Patton was when I was 15. I kind of, started my musical journey, in high school. And once I learned, oh, that's Mike Patton and that's Tomahawk and that's that horrible band we saw open. Like, how did, but hey, it works that way sometimes, I guess.
Is
but
Tomahawk the one that is Buzzo of the Melvins in that? Or
I don't know. Possibly. But all I remember about that was that just like that couple minutes of just horribleness and how just people were booing, people were like upset, like leaving in droves. It was crazy. But then they Meshuggah and ISIS and I don't remember who opened the last one that I saw, but
was it I know Author and Punisher was one of their openers recently.
That's right. Author and Punisher's awesome too.
And that's an acquired taste. If I had Tool tickets to see Tool, they're opening, I'm just like, oh yeah, I got to go check this out.
Yeah.
But hearing them like drive in on Spotify, I'm just kind of like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Very creative, and the guy literally created, I don't know, this giant workout machine that creates industrial noises.
Wait, have you seen all that stuff?
And
I mean,
kazoo,
he like hand builds all this stuff, and
that's
where
I'm
wild.
just like, well, fucking mad respect.
Yeah,
I'm fine, but that's cool.
not really your cup of tea. I get it, but it's pretty. I mean, just to see him actually perform it, like where he's got all these crazy sliders and machines that he's crafted.
I want like factory footage from an '80s movie where sparks are flying everywhere. That like a band.
Right.
I want that scene in every movie, like Terminator 2, but a band.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I got to put on my welding mask
right.
and make this. Like, wait, you got instruments right over there. No.
Right. I saw Author and Punisher at Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. That's what it was called at that point. But this is probably 2019 of summer, so it was like August, and I think that they opened for Three Teeth. He opened for Three Teeth, and it was like 100 degrees outside. I mean, the sun was down, and it was still like 100 degrees out. And the poor guy, he's up there mid set, everything just crashes. His computer just shut down, and it's just silence, and then all of a sudden you see these stagehands running out on stage. I mean, and it's packed, so, and they can't get it working, and so then they start bringing out fans, and they've got like 3 or 4 fans just like blasting on all of his equipment, and it turns out everything just overheated because it was so hot, and there was literally like a 20-minute silence while they cooled all his stuff down, and it was able to reboot it and finish out the set, but it was painful.
And turn on any like house music.
Well, I think eventually
Hey guys,
they had to do something.
Just give us a second.
Right.
We gotta cool the shit down.
But yeah, it's
Like,
really
oh, okay.
awkward and
I'll go grab a
really
drink.
horrible. I felt really bad for the guy because it's like, man, that's a tough break. But also, like,
nobody communicated to the crowd. Like maybe you could piece together what was happening.
it was pretty obvious. It's not a
But
huge
still,
venue,
I think
so they could
someone
see.
should just be like, guys, give us a moment. This shit overheated.
Yeah,
You get it.
yeah,
Bear with us, and I would probably be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
yeah. That and I felt really bad for him, and I'm sure he learned a lot about touring in the southern states in the summer. Like you got to be prepared for that if you're gonna.
I
be
built all
outside.
this shit. Probably got to build in like a selfie.
Yeah. Put a fan in
cooling.
that thing.
Yeah, put in some fans in this thing, and
yeah. So that was
maybe
an
go
interesting experience.
acoustic. Don't know.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if his shit went down. He just like out of nowhere just pulls out an acoustic guitar and be like, "Hey guys, you didn't expect this, now did you?"
Yeah, I don't know how well that would go over industrial music. There's not a whole lot of melody in that.
Kind of requires an electrical connection.
Yeah,
of sorts,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that was wild. But hey, I mean, he's still going, so it didn't ruin his career or anything.
Yeah.
So
Back to the shop. Got to make some mods on my. I'm impressed when someone like builds like a guitar, but like building instruments for what you got, like that's.
yeah, well, and these aren't. I mean, these are like pretty advanced things. Yeah, we watched
I picture
a video
like he's on a
about him.
treadmill too for no reason.
Yeah, just because.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched a video on YouTube where he kind of goes into some of this stuff. I mean, like it's advanced. All these little electronic parts, and and then MIDI connectors, and he's figured out ways to translate certain movements into certain actions on a keyboard, and I mean it's crazy. And he talks about like, oh well, anyone can do this. Or like, I don't know.
Sure, yeah. The big thing is making DJs look like lazy pieces of shit.
Right.
Oh, what? You got like a couple laptops up there and like another little keyboard thing that's like,
Yeah.
oh, did you buy that? Okay, asshole. All right. You just got a great light show and maybe a helmet. Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I built everything. Nobody knows what this is.
Right, and he probably couldn't build it again. He's just kind of like putting stuff together and just kind of got lucky.
And he's just like, shit, I should have wrote down some notes along the way. Uh-oh. It's like when I see pictures, videos of like people that, there's one that's like, this guy on TikTok restores old things, like 100-year-old, metal tool things, like a bread maker or something like that. And it's edited together of him like, unscrewing everything to go put it in its chemical bath to get the rust and all that shit off. And I'm watching that. I'm just like, I'd kind of like to see the longer video of this, of just like, does he go back to the tape to like when he's putting it back together? He's just like, oh, fuck.
Where does this screw go?
I got 57 screws here. I don't know. I know they go in this thing, but shit. Okay, I go back to the tape. Rewind. What did I take that out of? Like, there's got to be. Yeah. And he should just play acoustic.
Yep.
All right. So, what is the name of the new album? I can't get that out of you. I'm just kidding. I know you probably don't have it.
We can't put it. We can't put that out there.
It's
yet.
a secret. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be good though.
Okay.
It's and yeah,
It's called the Breckening Sessions.
the Breckening Sessions.
I humbly accept.
Well,
I am the 6th member of Secret of Boris now. Before we started, I think every new metal band should shun the DJ part and just have a comedian.
a comedian. That's the new metal.
It's part like Boss Tone's dancing guy, and part that the guy, rest in peace, the Kid Rock's side dude. Kid Rock's mini me.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it's like a
Remember his name,
combination of that. In between songs, I pop in with some one-liners. You guys take a break. I do a quick 5. If it's going good, maybe 7 to 10, something like that. And I don't know. We're just trying to revolutionize, live music.
Maybe that's what it is.
And
That's
get
what
in
it
front
needs.
of audiences in a much easier, instead of having my texts and emails ignored from clubs. Just fucking go. I did get to go do stand up. Like I was at Curtain Club, and this wasn't like a planned thing. I know y'all played there, and I was like emceeing. That was weird, and like whatever. Jim was there, friends were there, and it was fine. But like the curtain was literally closed behind me, so I wasn't even technically on stage. I was up on the step. Anyways, so I went and saw a Mutoid Man was there. That's a side project. Okay, Ben Culler of Converge. He's drums, and Steve Brodsky of Cave In plays guitar and sings. And currently they have the bassist of High on Fire as their bassist. So they're headlining. But before them was this band out of Seattle called Helms Ali.
Oh yeah, I know them.
Fucking phenomenal. Loud as shit too. I remember watching them. I was there with our buddy Nick Rash.
Yep.
And so I have a witness. So Helms Ali's playing, and the guitar player, one of his strings breaks. And this isn't a band that has 3-4 guitars sitting off to the side. It's one guitar for everything. And so it was either the bass player or the drummer, one of them. She goes, hey, he's got to fix his guitar string. This will take a minute. Is there a comedian in the audience? And the second she got done saying that, me and Nick just lock eyes and I'm just no. So yeah, he's to my left. We look at each other, and then next to me, my right arm's just going up. I'm like, oh shit, my hand's in the air because I don't prepare.
That's like being on an airplane and someone's like, is there a doctor on board?
Comedians are just as important as doctors. Thank you. I didn't want to have to say that, but we are. The gift of laughter is amazing. But I've always thought about that happening, but you don't prepare for it because it never does. And then it's like, but then I was like, oh shit. And I was like, well, I am a comedian. And what's funny is I immediately went up there and plugged my show down the street that was happening next week or something. And then it took me a second to get. I didn't come here with a set list in my pocket. I didn't have it. I don't think I was doing any comedy after the show. And I was just like, all right. And then I finally got into some material, and I have material about a merch table. So I was like, if any crowd, I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can kind of do that, in front of a regular crowd. But I'm like, if any crowd's going to get this material, it's this crowd watching these bands with merch tables in the back. And so I was able to do that, and it got to a point. I did 10 minutes, and it got to a point where the guitar player, he's already done, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, man. Are you ready to go?" He's like, "No, man." He's like, "Well, you can keep going, man. I'm having a good time."
Nice.
And then I was like, "Oh shit, all right, well, no, you're good. All right, guys. Once again, Helms Ali." And they bought me a beer. The band bought me a beer afterwards, and a couple of years later, they came back through with Cave In. They combined Russian Circle show with Cave In.
Was that the one at
Deep Elm Art Company?
Oh, Deep Elm. Oh.
This was November 2019.
Okay, yeah. No, I saw. I think Helms Ali was on the Russian Circles show at RBC in 2016.
Oh, okay.
I was there, and that show was badass.
Oh, that would have been nice to see.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I was like, oh, sweet. So it was this one band opening, the Primals, something like that, and then Helms Ali, Cave In, Russian Circles. So again, I go there with Nick, and we're just like, oh, let's go find those Helms Ali guys. They'll probably remember. And they're up next, and so we don't bug them too much. But they're out literally doing stretches, and I'm like, and they're not a bouncer. I'm like, oh, good for them. They do look like a band that watches what they eat. And then they're doing some stretches, and me and Nick go up like, "Hey guys, good to see you again. Remember me?" And I think they did, but I was like, "Yeah, I did comedy last time you were here." And if they didn't remember, they probably see a lot of people. But I was like, "Hey, I did comedy last time you were here at the Mutoid Man show." They're like, "Oh shit, man!" So, hey, good to see you again. I'm glad Stephen Brodsky likes you because you're on this awesome combined show.
That's a great story, man. That you just got called up randomly to do comedy.
And one. And what was great is the one time I was like, okay, good. It was for bands that I'm really stoked to see.
Yeah,
and not just you're just drawn into, or you're just you're I'm here to see these bands for some reason. I don't care about. You're just and they're like, we need a comedian. And I'm just like, nah, I ain't doing that. This one I was just like, oh shit, this is the moment.
Wow.
And then I stage dived. No.
Oh God, yeah. And
that would have been great.
To the floor.
But yeah, yeah, that would have been a great movie moment.
Yeah, right.
All right, man, we can wrap this up. We're
Okay.
clocked in about an hour, almost hour 5.
Hey, all right.
Anything else you want to plug? This is gonna.
Well-
I can't tell you when this is gonna be uploaded.
Well,
But,
okay,
Like
yeah,
in
yeah.
general, obviously, go see Secret of Boris.
Yeah.
ManifestiV.
Secret of Boris.
You will see Ryan Arthur. When I've seen y'all play live, you look like you're having such a fun fucking time.
Oh yeah.
Like some, again, you're not like doing blast beats.
No,
thank God you can play this. That you look like you have fun up there.
I do.
You have a
I
fucking
do.
smile on your face. I'm just like, Jesus, like this. It's refreshing. Really.
Well, good. I appreciate that. I do.
Some of us notice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Generally,
Cameron's shaking his hips, whatever.
Yeah.
Paragraph's doing his thing. Guys are rocking out, playing riffs. So I'm just like, yeah, fucking Schesh.
Yeah.
Just,
you know,
having a blast.
I really do enjoy it, and I guess I'm just lucky that I find myself in bands that I enjoy. It's like I'm not just kind of playing with bands just to have something to play.
Yeah.
Like the bands I'm in because I really like them. And so like
not just in it for the money.
yeah, the money, yeah. But yeah, so I do have a blast playing, and I really think that if you don't worry about trying to look a certain way, you just kind of like let it be, just let yourself like have fun.
Yeah.
That kind of translates. People pick up on that, and that's I'm usually in the back in the dark, but there's always someone that comes up to me after the show and be like, "Hey, I always just watch the drummer," and and I hear that a lot. Like, look
Thank
like
God
you
they
were
tell you that
having a
after
good
you're done
time.
playing.
Well, yeah, right.
Besides that, you're like, oh God, all right.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm glad you notice.
Oh yeah.
But
I bounce it when I'm watching a band. I'm bouncing around every member, just like, all right, picking up on some little things they're doing,
Sure.
or not, or whatever. But
yeah, I do have a good time, and even with the cover stuff, it does feel different, but I mean, hell, when I'm playing break stuff, I'm having a blast, and even the Nine Inch Nails stuff, it's a little more serious, but I love Nine Inch Nails, and so like playing that stuff is really fun, and it's there's only a few times during the show where it's like, okay, this is going to be a really tricky part. I got to like really focus, when you kind of come up on that stuff, you can't let yourself go too far. You gotta really focus. But for the most part, I can do all that stuff in my sleep. So it's like I can just focus on having fun, and yeah, it's a blast. But
all right, so
yeah, and then
to plug.
Okay, yeah. So I'm
besides
supposed to plug some stuff.
you
Okay,
having
so
fun. Sorry, that was my plug about
yeah.
you.
Okay. So yeah, Secret of Boris. We just put out 2 singles in the last couple months, and we got another one coming out here in a week.
Right.
Well, 2 weeks, I guess. Called "I Hate This Place," and then we've got a couple more coming out, and then we should have a record ready to go by the summer.
Okay.
We've got a title, but we can't release
All
it
right.
yet. But I'm telling you, this record's good. Like it's the best stuff we've done. It's my favorite thing.
I'm loving the single so far. Those
Well,
are a lot
yeah,
of fun.
good. Yeah, Room 101 has just been, the response has been really, really awesome. And then also, This Is What We Get has been great too. And it's, 2 of the heaviest songs we've done, I think. And then this next one it's a little different, but it's good. And I think people are gonna find something that they can relate to with it. So I'm super excited about it. And then the one after that's coming is my favorite on the record. And then we got a kind of a surprise after that, and then then the record's coming out, and we got all like the rest of this year is lining up to be a really cool and interesting year for the band.
Nice.
And like some big shows, just some big things coming that I'm really excited about. I think we're all just like super jazzed at this point.
That's awesome.
And then ManifestiV's doing some cool stuff too. Like we just put a record out, and we're playing with the Birthday Massacre next month, and yeah, and then of course Paragraph and Lilith are running out to California to do some shows out there, and so there's just like everything is just firing on all cylinders right now. It's really cool. So
Well, if you
I'm
need
super excited.
If you need a comedian to open up for you,
Yeah, right.
You can fake have to replace a Tom or something like that. Like, oh no, you just knock it over and be like, hey guys, it's gonna take me like 10 minutes.
Is there a comedian in the house?
Is there a comedian in the house? And I just walk out from the side stage. Let's not tell the other guys.
Yeah.
All right. Ryan Arthur Schershehuh. There we go.
There you go.
Say your last name. How it's supposed to be.
The way it's supposed to be is Schershehuh.
Schershehuh. Okay. Yeah. Easy enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's really not that difficult.
I'm still gonna every title of this episode. I got tired of, and I went back and renamed instead of interview with the person. I go back and give it some dumb title. So I'm gonna overthink this one and have some fun with it.
All right.
All right,
good
man.
luck.
Thanks a lot, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot for Pro Rehearsal for having us here. Unbeknownst to them, just kidding. Prater, knows we're here. All right. Y'all have a great day. It's the Breckening Podcast. Come see me do stand up. Check my socials at the Breckening, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Whatever. Yeah, whatever.